Hello, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining us. I'm Andrea Weiner, the Deputy Director of the Association of Healthcare Journalists. Everybody who's participating today, we're really excited to have you here. We have Rosalind Reed, former director of, you were at CASW, Roz, is that right?
Right, right.
Okay. And then we have two of our SHERFies, two alumni from our SHERF program in the past. So I am excited that you all are here. And I'm going to share my screen here and we'll go ahead and get rolling. All right. A nod from my presenters if you can see my screen. Beautiful. Thank you. As I said, we're here to talk about the National Science Health Environment Reporting Fellowship. Um, and you're here to learn more about the fellowship, how to apply, and we're here to answer questions for you. All righty. Our next slide. This program started in collaboration with the Council for the Advancement of Science Writing and the Society of Environmental Journalists, along with the Association of Healthcare Journalists. This is a fellowship that is designed to support our early career journalists who are pursuing or have a strong interest in pursuing careers in science, health, or environmental reporting, or all of the above. I'm somebody who likes to say that every story is a health story if we frame it correctly. I strongly believe that that is the case for science and environmental reporting as well. There is a lot of important reporting to be done at the intersection of science, health, and environment. And the climate crisis is making really clear that the heat alone has become a health threat of unprecedented proportions, but that's only part of the climate crisis. And this fellowship is really geared at hitting the high points on some of those. So this is a slide of some of our beautiful fellows, not all of them. This is our fourth year offering the program. And we're really thankful to be doing so. A program like SHERF, Science Health Reporting Fellowship, matters because it can fill those gaps that early career journalists simply don't have the time or support or resources to cover on their own. Just kind of a few high points of what the fellowship gives you. So it gives journalists the space to grow while staying in your job. If you have not taken part in a fellowship before, you may not know. Oftentimes, you have to take time away from your job in order to do a fellowship. That's not the case with this one. Most newsrooms do not have the bandwidth to offer deep professional development, and this program provides high quality training, mentoring, and conference access without requiring you to step away from your job. The program also builds stronger science, health, and environment reporting. These are areas that desperately need strength and building up those foundations as these beats demand specialized skills. You need to be able to understand research. You have to be able to interpret data, evaluate evidence, navigate, like complex policy topics. And we believe that stronger reporting in these areas means we have better informed communities and better public decision making. The program also strengthens the pipeline of diverse early career journalists. We are very intentionally supporting journalists from underrepresented backgrounds and smaller outlets. We believe in making the field more inclusive and believe that ensuring more perspectives helps shape the stories that the public relies on. This program also creates a community of practice. Our fellows are not just attending trainings, they are building lasting relationships with their mentors, with peers across newsrooms and the country. These networks, we know, and we have proof that this helps support journalists through career shifts, big stories, challenging beats. The fellowship also elevates the quality of coverage on issues with real world impact. So we know that science, health, and environmental decisions impact everything from public health to climate resilience to equity. And by giving reporters the strong tools that they need, our program improves the accuracy and the nuance and the depth of the coverage of these topics. And lastly, the program, this one's pretty important. It protects and strengthens journalism itself. When we're investing in early career journalists, we're able to help retain talent at a time when burnout and newsroom cuts are widespread. And programs like the SHERF Fellowship Program provide momentum, confidence, and career longevity to keep you going. So this is just a quick I have two screens, so I'm looking off to the side. Apologize. This is just a quick overview of a few stories that have come out of the SHERF program from previous fellows. One that I'll mention in the top left was from Rolling Stone about superbugs and a pandemic, and that was from a former fellow of ours. after he published this piece, it led to him being asked to take part in a congressional briefing about the super pandemic or the superbugs and the next pandemic. So people are paying attention to the work that we're putting out, or that you all are putting out, and that we're helping you support with. So you can kind of get an idea of the types of stories and things that can come out of a fellowship like this. Next, we'll go over just one example of the impact of the SHERF Fellowship. So, um, at our environmental health conference, we had environmental health advocates speak at the 2023 SHERF Fellowship training. We were able to meet them and get to know them, and they spoke a little bit more about accessing FOIA information and data and documents there. We were able to make connections with journalists, including a 2024 SHERF fellow, Dylan Burgeon, and he was able to start reviewing thousands of FOIA documents for these environmental health advocates. As a result of that, reviewing those documents, another SHERF fellow, Allison Kite, published a story about the federal government downplaying the risks of St. Louis radioactive waste. That's what those documents were digging into, and she was able to put out a story about that that garnered some national attention. And as a result of that story being written, and as a result of that data being gone through by another fellow, as a result of the SHERF program connecting journalists and advocates together, the One Beautiful Bill Act that was passed earlier this year included language from U.S. Senator Josh Hawley about expanding compensation for radiation-caused cancers to Missouri and other states. And so that is a direct result of the reporting that came from two fellows in the our program that we have. So this, like I said, people are paying attention. So what does the program require of you? Time. Time and commitment. You should have a real commitment from your editor, your producer, your freelance clients, or whoever you call the boss for several weeks of travel to our organization's three conferences and attendance at occasional webinars. So I mentioned those three conferences. So we have three of them here. So this is a collaboration between three organizations. April 15th through 18th in Chicago is the Society for Environmental Journalists 2026 conference. Our fellows are required to attend that. We also have May 27th through the 30th at AHCJ's Health Journalism 2026. The location announcement is coming soon. I can tell you it's in the Midwest. Um, so that will come actually out next month. And then attendance at the 2026 conference for science writers, which will be held in Oregon at Oregon State University. So as fellows, you're required to attend these three conferences, which means we support you to get there. That is your opportunity to meet in person with your cohort, as well as check out some tailor-made sessions for our SHERF fellows. What also is required of you as a fellow is, again, time and commitment. We will occasionally create webinars for fellows that are based on interest or need. If we have the opportunity to give our fellows the chance to learn from someone exciting and awesome, we'll do that. For example, in the past, we've had your local epidemiologist, Caitlin Jetelina, join to talk about reporting on COVID and public health, and then helping our fellows better understand epidemiology and public health statistics, that kind of thing. So if we have the opportunity to offer something like that, we will. In addition to our occasional webinars, we do have 10 hours of online data or stats training. This is important to be able to truly cover health, environment, and science in a way that you understand and then can translate to your audiences. The videos themselves are less than 6 hours in total, but everyone says you get the most out of the course if you take your time and work through all of the problem sets. I'm seeing two fellows shake their heads, yes. Um, so that's part of it. Also, as part of the fellowship program, you get as much networking as you want in your life. The fellowship is enriched by the people who take part in it. Everyone's learning from one another, which is the fun part, I think, for everybody. We create a Slack channel for each group of our fellows to be able to use and exchange ideas, come up with meetup plans, share the work that they've done, what they're reading or watching. basically, the SHERF Fellowship is a really amazing opportunity to build up your network of support and community in journalism. In addition to the networking, we will also match you with a mentor. So if you are selected as a fellow, you'll have the opportunity to share more with my team about the kind of mentor that you'd like to be matched with. Are you covering health and you only want to talk to a health reporter? Are you really invested in certain bits of scientific research? We'll match you with someone. And essentially, I joke that it's the dating game. We're playing matchmaker. We are pulling your wants and needs, and we're comparing them against the membership of the three organizations to find the perfect match for you to be able to meet with throughout the life of the fellowship program. These are just some of our fellows in the past. We don't force our SHERF fellows or SHERFies, as they have called themselves. We don't force SHERFies to spend every minute of every day together when we're all in the same place, but sometimes they still do, and that's kind of cool. We hope to create a group of people who can offer support to each other, both as journalists and as just being in the world of journalism at this time in the U.S. history. We know that there's a lot going on, and the sharing that goes on in a program like this is really important to folks. Like I said, it's not just a program, it's a community as well. So, to participate as a fellow, what we really, really need from you is we need you to have a willingness to learn. We want you to be eager, engaged, interested, curious, willing to learn everything you can. That's a big, big requirement for the fellowship. We love for you to be a sponge, to just come to the fellowship with open heart, open mind, being willing to learn all the things. This particular photo is from the Calumet Water Reclamation Project in Chicago. Previous fellows were able to take a tour of that and learn more about the efforts being made to address rising water levels in Chicago due to extreme weather events. So, literally, we want you to be able to learn, but sometimes you do need to wear a hard hat as well. So, plan your outfit accordingly. Okay, so who is eligible to apply? Just a quick note, this is an email I do receive a lot. If you already have a graduate degree in science writing or something similar like that, we prioritize applicants who do not have that opportunity because this is really something that we want to help build up folks who haven't had the opportunity to go to grad school and dig further into this type of topic. So, that aside, our candidates should be early career journalists, US based. That's important for travel reimbursement purposes. We don't care if you're on staff somewhere or if you're a freelancer, all are welcome. We need you to have 2 years of professional journalism experience. Our fellows must agree to attend all of the training events during the program year. So, those three conferences I mentioned, plus webinars and things that come up. Our program leaders will decide whether events take place in person or virtually. We really are trying to pay attention to public health considerations, but also just needing to be flexible to whatever the moment demands necessary. Each employer, whether you are a freelancer or a news outlet or somebody that is a regular client for you, you'll be asked to provide a letter of recommendation from those folks. So employers are asked also to pledge their support for your full participation in all of our training events. We want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. If you get this fellowship, that you are participating, your editors and your team is on board and they know what's expected. CASW, AHCJ, and SEJ, we're fully committed to diversity and inclusion in our memberships, our training programs, in the larger journalism field. And just to be very, very explicitly clear, we welcome applicants who also support that commitment. Like I mentioned earlier, it is really important to us that we are trying to build up diversity in the journalism field. So we do ask various demographic questions as part of the application process. That is not a required field. You do not have to put that in, but if you do, we appreciate it and it helps us learn if we're reaching more people. All right, our application checklist. So, several things that you'll need to apply. We want a cover letter from you where you're introducing yourself, your journalism background. Talk to us about your efforts at career development. Have you been able to pursue any of that before? If not, that's okay. We want to know that. And we want to know why you're excited about this fellowship. Tell us more about why this interests you and why you want to participate. We also would love to have a current resume or a CV that we can look at. And then, as I mentioned, we need that letter of recommendation from your employer. That in that letter, they should address the benefits of the fellowship for you and the news organization's audience, as well as, again, their commitment to support your participation. If you're a freelancer, you should still submit a letter of recommendation from either a regular client of yours or an assigning editor who can speak to your abilities and your value and what you would gain from participating in the program. And lastly, we want two sample news or feature stories that have been published or aired in the last 12 months. And in this, I will say we welcome reporters from all mediums. If you are a podcaster, we still want you. You're a TV reporter, we still want you. You're printing online, you're a newspaper. We'll take it. We'll take it all. Don't let the medium discourage you from participating. All right, go to my next slide. Oh, yay, somebody else's turn to talk. Okay, so we have two of our fellows, previous fellows here. We have Janae Barnes from Capital B. Janae was a 2024 SHERF Fellow, and we have Sarah Volpenheim of the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, who was also a 2024 SHERF Fellow. I did not realize that I had picked two people from the last class, so thank you for being here. Thank you for already knowing each other. I would love it if you guys would spend a little bit of time talking about your experience in the program, maybe the types of stories you got to cover as a result, or how the SURE Fellowship program impacted, your careers and your jobs day to day. So I turn it over to either one of you who would like to go first. Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, Janae unmuted first. It's you.
I'm like, okay. Well, congratulations to all of to everyone interested and being able to take an opportunity of this, to apply. It's an amazing program. So congratulations for being here. So excited to answer any questions you have. For me, I am a health and environment reporter for Capital B in Gary, Indiana. So joining this fellowship was pivotal to a lot of like the professional development that I needed to learn and to grow as someone that didn't come from a traditional journalism background. I got my bachelor's degree in like global affairs, something, completely different, and then, transitioned into journalism in 2022. I got my master's degree in journalism in 2022. Um, but as someone still kind of developing their beat, I found this opportunity incredibly helpful as covering health and climate or like the environment and how they intersected. And so this program was really helpful in teaching me how to communicate how those two and three beats connect and intersect, right? And help our audience connect those dots as well, because they are such nebulous, kind of beats that can mean a lot of different things. So being able to um, really be able to extrapolate that and bring that to our audiences, I think was something that I found incredibly helpful during my time as a Sherfie. And I would also say as a reporter, like as I do primarily like digital reporting, so like writing for our digital site. But it gave me a lot of different tools, like data tools. That data workshop that we did was so in depth that you got to just take your time, really get to know like the training, the different strategies behind things, the different tools that are available to you. That was able to kind of supplement those kind of like data visualizations that I wanted to add into my stories too. So I'd say one of the stories that I think this program helped me a lot with the most was I one of the biggest issues that Gary, Indiana has is air pollution. So I report on a lot of industrial pollution from primarily the steel industry there. So learning how steel is made, it's its own like refinement process, and then understanding like the very different chemicals, the different like elements that are emitted into the air, and then understanding like that scientific jargon, and then translating it into our news in our newsroom to allow other people to understand, okay, like what does this mean, right? How does this affect our health? And understanding ways to bring that information to our audience. So that way, even if they might not understand or might not be super interested in, the particulate, matter emissions in the air, they know how to understand and how to resonate with themselves the health impacts that it has for them and to bring that home. So, and that's what a lot of the stories that I was able to do through this program really helped me with. And the last thing I would say is having the opportunity to go to not one, not two, but three journalism conferences is paramount to someone that is, coming into this field, coming into journalism and wanting to learn and connect and network with people. It's something that it's very rare to find in this kind of industry to be able to have that financial support too. So absolutely, being able to make the most out of the opportunity can really change the trajectory of your career. I know the people that I've been able to connect with and network with have helped me immensely. And the best part about it is like, if you're at a conference, you have an automatic group of people, your fellow Sherfies, rooting for you in whatever, room you go to, right? So it makes it a little bit more personal, a little bit more comfortable if you're, a bit shy of meeting new people. You have a bit of a home base to touch base with while you're there. So I couldn't recommend this program enough. And I'm super excited to hear what my fellow Sherfie Sarah has to say. But I'm really excited for you guys to be here. So congrats again.
Thanks, Janae. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Janae. And good to see you again. Um, Hi, everybody. Welcome. And I'm so glad that you all are considering applying for this program. I'll just echo what Janae said and say I can't, recommend it more. And it really is a great opportunity and one that is truly rare, like Janae said, that you get an opportunity to go to all of these conferences, have this training, and at the end of it, there's not, a deliverable that you need to turn in. Of course, it helps that you apply what you learn to your reporting and that there is, that you do kind of show that. But being part of a fellowship that doesn't have that explicit deliverable at the end is, I think, something really rare and just shows how much the organizations that put this on really care about the training aspect of it and supporting early career journalists. So yeah, just to give you an idea of my background. So I am a healthcare reporter at the Journal Sentinel, and I did not have much of any experience covering science or environment when I um, before I before I started this program. And also right before I applied, we had lost our public health and medical science reporter at the Journal Sentinel and did not end up filling that position. So I was feeling more, of a pressure to kind of come up with more of those stories myself. Um, so SHERF was really instrumental in challenging me to expand my ideas about what a healthcare story is and including environment and science considerations into my, story brainstorming. And it expanded my imagination about how to go about these kinds of stories. It gave me more confidence to take on science and environmental stories, which just in the last year, we've had quite a few major ones here in Milwaukee. Our school system basically they found out that they weren't keeping up with any of the lead paint maintenance, and a child ended up with lead poisoning. And so I was able to collaborate with a few of my other reporting colleagues on stories about the impact of that. And we also had a 1,000-year flood event in August that the whole newsroom jumped in on to cover that had pretty catastrophic effects across the city, caused, tens of millions of dollars in damages, and ended up being declared a disaster by FEMA. So there's lots of opportunities to, cover these types of stories, and any amount of training to help reporters incorporate more science and environmental reporting into that is just so invaluable. And just to echo some of what Janae said too, I found the training on like how to interpret medical studies and use data in your reporting and what questions to ask of studies and how to be skeptical of what you're reading. I found that all very helpful. And again, just the opportunities for networking and getting to know your other SHERF colleagues are just so invaluable. We still keep in touch in a group chat that we made. Um, and every conference I do go to, I end up running into a SHERF either from our year or from previous years. I've gotten to know SHERFs even from the previous class, and it's just one big family pretty much. So it's a good home base, just like Janae said, that you can come back to. So yeah, I'm happy to take any of your questions, and um, yeah, looking forward to talking more about this.
Thanks, Sarah. All right. This is just our reminder slide. I'll remind you at the end as well. The deadline to apply for the Science, Health, Environment Reporting Fellowship is December 19th, 5 p.m. Central. I'll let you work out all of the other time zones there, but they're coming to me and it's 5 p.m. Central because that's the time zone I'm in. Now, look, I'm happy to field questions. We've got several folks who are able to field questions. We have the Q&A function, so you can drop your questions there. Also, if you wanted to raise your hand, I can unmute you and you can ask your question directly. That's cool with me. Don't feel comfortable asking questions in this setting. You can email me. It's andrea@healthjournalism.org. And if I don't have the answers, I will find them for you, I promise. So now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we can just chat a little bit. We do have a couple of questions in the Q&A. One of them says, "What if you're not early career but are doing something brand new?" Roz, do you want to take that?
Sure. So I should just introduce myself.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm Roz Reed. I'm the former executive director of CASW. I was involved in the previous years of SHERF in launching the program and running it for a few years. So that's why I'm here to answer questions.
Always
Um,
welcome.
yeah, and happy to. So to that question, the what if you're not early career but are doing something brand new? The first question. Uh, I think the question is, yeah, whether what you're doing that's new is journalism and what you were doing before was not journalism. So we do want people who are not have not been journalists for a long time, such that they're senior journalists, because this is an opportunity for early career journalists. So I think we need to just go back and forth with you a little bit on your specific situation. But that doesn't rule you out. We've had people who have jumped fields in mid-career and they've made good SHERF, so that's fine. So a preference for features versus news stories in your application. Oh, you should just submit whatever is strongest for you. That's pretty
Yeah, whatever
straightforward.
you're proud of, submit it.
Yeah, do it. Absolutely. Yeah. And then if you have experience in journalism, but not as a science journalist or any of these specialties, does that disqualify you? I would say no. You need to be able to show some work and some chops in covering these topics in these areas, but there are and also interest, because this is about building your career in this particular direction. So if you just are a general journalist and would like to apply for this program, you'd have a higher bar to jump over to show us that you're committed to following to this pathway. So that's, but we've had people who have mixed careers for sure. Everybody has to cover all kinds of stories, so we know that.
Absolutely. Again, put your questions in a Q&A, raise your hand, I can unmute you. I know that this is our fourth year, going into our fourth year of the program, and we really enjoy looking back at all of the fellows who have come through, and keeping in touch with them and seeing how amazing they are now. Like Janae, you're not an early career journalist anymore. You're nailing it, and you just went to Germany, right?
I did, yeah. I just did with AHCJ. So
Awesome.
thank you. Thank you.
Yes, very cool. Um, We'll keep going for a few more minutes. I mean, there's not a ton of questions. Hopefully, that just means our presentation was stellar, or you're going to email me with your questions later. Scrolling through, make sure we don't have any hands raised. Helena raised their hand. Okay. Now I've got to figure out how to actually let you do that. There we go. Allow to talk. Okay. All you.
Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. How are you?
I'm good. How are you all doing?
Good. So good to see you virtually.
Yes, and thank you for hosting this. It has been really clear and really helpful.
Cool.
And I wondered a little bit, maybe the fellows can talk a little bit about some of the training that you've gotten, especially like one thing I'm really keen on hearing about is like understanding studies, breaking down, feeling more confident about navigating the science and navigating the data. If you can share a little bit about what you learned, what was presented essentially to you, and how that's been valuable.
Good question. Thank you.
Yeah, so there were a number of like specialized training sessions that we got throughout the fellowship. So I think after or during pretty much each conference, there was like a day or a couple of days where we did like a special session that was just for the SHERF fellows that included training, and it kind of ran the gamut. So one one conference we did some training on solutions journalism. We also did training on, basic math skills. So, calculating averages and, you know, change over time and stuff like that. And then there was the more, uh, more intensive training that we also did that I think Andrea alluded to, which was the data training that took place over a number of weeks. And you kind of did it at your own pace. And it was a sideline tutorial about exactly what you were talking about, how to kind of evaluate studies and um, um, how to, ask questions of studies and interrogate what they're saying they say, the strength of the information that they're presenting. And um, through that, we learned it took place, it was like a series of vignettes. And um, basically, the instructors presented like a case study. And then we learned about kind of a different aspect of being critical of studies and evaluating them each time. So, like one week might be, how to avoid common reporting pitfalls. Another one might be, how to look for red flags of like sloppy or fraudulent studies. There were some sessions about, um, how to spot what might be a fraudulent study and gave us some resources to look to for where you might find where others had flagged studies that were questionable. That's as much as I remember right now, but Janae, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Yeah, no, that covers like a lot of it. Yeah, like we had like kind of side trainings like that we would have in our own like sessions like as SHERF fellows. Like solutions journalism I know is one. Like you mentioned, of course, the data workshops. Those are very like in depth. I recall we also had not only like the technical skill set and within like science writing, but like we had one of just like narrative like storytelling like writing workshop. I think it was an editor from like was it the LA Times,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
And he
Steve
did a
Padilla
great
from the
job.
LA Times.
Yes, yeah, he did a great workshop, and I still like, carry a lot of like those notes from, that session into like my own writing now. So like, it's not just like just scientific stuff, but also, just kind of helping you hone those writing skills. And then I will say at some of the conferences, there's sessions that, we are encouraged to attend that will kind of feed into that training as well. So, example, I know we did one about heat last year, and that was a really good in-depth one. Um, how heat was like impacting like different regions of the world. So like kind of different topics, not only like within our own like kind of SHERF settings online, but we also had those opportunities in person at the conferences as well through some of those sessions. But yeah, Sarah covered a great part of that. Yeah, the heat training was really good.
Kind of jealous that everybody gets to go to all three journalism conferences and just, oh, to be a fly on the wall. We have a couple of questions in the chat here. Um, oh, Helena says that they remember the heat training and that Steve Padilla is incredible. Thank you for the answers. We appreciate that. One question is, what does the program consider early career? Is there a limit on years in the field? I'll defer to Roz on this one. I know the minimum is at least 2 years of professional experience. I don't know that there is a cap per se, but Roz.
Yeah, I don't think that we have decided against a cap because there have been a lot of good applicants who were, right, sort of at the edge. I think the most experience that someone's had who's been in it was during my time was about 12 years. So in that range of 10 to 12 would be the borderline. Again, it would Again, if you've moved specialties, I think that that is taken into consideration. So you might be relatively new at this kind of work and have come from another area of journalism, and that might give you a little extra space. But
Yeah, I think that really underscores it's not necessarily one box or another. There's some gray area there that you can explain in your letter of recommendation or in your cover letter and talk through that. Alrighty. Do you mind clarifying the eligibility for people who have done a grad school program in journalism or science communications? Are they still eligible to apply? I think you're still eligible to apply. One thing we'll note is, if you have been in a science communication grad school program, you might already know some of the data techniques and things that will be taught. So just being aware of that, but I don't believe that it negates you from applying. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ross.
no, right. So we do just want to give preference to people who have not had this kind of training. So it does overlap with some of what people get in some graduate programs. So it really depends on what graduate study you have already had. It would just make you would have a slight disadvantage if you'd done one of the programs that was really very similar. So yeah.
Yeah. So just again, write it out in your cover letter, show us your CV or your resume. Not all programs are made the same, and we know that, so we'll pay attention to that. Another question is, I'm an early-ish career journalist working now at a healthcare trade publication geared towards medical professionals, but I'd like to transition to writing more for the public. I feel like being a trade journalist sometimes cuts me out of fellowship opportunities. How open is the SHERF program to trade journalists who want to expand their skills and audiences? Um, I think we're pretty open to it. Everybody, we do believe really strongly that better coverage and better understanding of these things translates directly into better communities. And so I don't think you being a trade journalist cuts you out of the running by any means, but I welcome anybody else's feedback to that.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing where since I'm not judging this new batch, I would say it's up to the judge's discretion, and you just have to make a case. It's a program that you obviously was set up with the idea that it would have an impact on general audience journalism. So your commitment to that transition of writing for the public would be important to express for sure.
And like I said, we welcome it all. Let me mark that we answered that question. Somebody else asked, when does the program start and end? So I'm pulling up our timeline because my timeline's a little bit different than yours. So applications are due mid-December. We have a selection committee that will be meeting in mid-January. We plan to announce the fellows end of January, beginning of February, and then get folks, their travel arrangements and mentor matches made. It's a year-long program, so it would wrap up in December of 2026. So that's what that one looks like. Another question, would being a past health journalism fellow hurt your chances? No, I don't think that hurts your chances, especially if it was at least for AHCJ, we have a variety of different fellowship programs. And especially if you were a health journalism like conference fellow, for example, you're from Wisconsin or Michigan or something, and we helped you come to a health journalism conference, I don't think that precludes you by any means. No, no. All right. Any other questions? Any hands raised? Give you a couple of seconds to enter your stuff there. If not, we'll peace out and we'll be done. Again, December 19th is your deadline, 5 p.m. Central. If you have any questions, you can email me, Andrea at healthjournalism.org. It's Andrea, and I will try my best to answer them for you. Submit your stuff early if you can. That makes my life a little bit easier, but also gives you some space in case your application is you realize you're missing a piece of the application. So I know you are all journalists who are deadline oriented, and you give me a heart attack every time everybody waits to the last minute. So if you could submit early, I would love that for me. Do it for me. All right. I do not see any other questions, any other hands raised. Our presenters, Janae, Sarah, Roz, do you guys have any last minute thoughts you'd like to throw in?
I just say do it. SHERF is fantastic. Yes. I think I have yet to meet a SHERF who didn't have a very good experience with the fellowship, and it's such an incredible group to become a part of. It's just fantastic. And thank you so much for your interest. Hope to see some of you at the conference.
Absolutely. All righty. Well, thank you all so much. Be good to each other. Be kind. Have a good afternoon. We look forward to seeing your applications. Bye.